This is the Isbitzer Haggadah of Yaakov Liner of Ishbitz. Pesach Shahiu Avotenu Chlim Bizman Beit HaMikdash Kayam, the Pesach that our forefathers ate at the time when the temple was standing. Why is it called Pesach? Al Shum Shepasach HaMakom Al Bete Avosenu Mitzrayim. Since our Hashem had leapt over the houses of our forefathers in Egypt, as it is written, V'amartem Zevach Pesach Hu Hashem. It's the slaughter of the Pesach unto Hashem, who leapt over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt when he smote the Egyptians, and he saved our houses, and the people bowed down and prostrated themselves before Hashem. Pesach hu lashon dilug. The Meir Shalach explains that Pesach is the language of jumping, as it is written, Madaleg al harim, like it says in the Song of Songs, jumping over the mountains. The inyan dilug shel Hashem barach hu ahava shehiknis belev Yisrael be'et betahu. So what is the jumping? The jumping is the love that God jumped right into our hearts, that He entered the love into our hearts at that time. It was such an intense kedusha. Ad she'aya b'nekel ma'od l'kol echad v'echad miYisrael imsor nafsho avor ratzon Hashem yitbarach. So God put His love in the heart of each and every Jew with the exodus of Egypt to such an extent that it was easy for each and every Jew to give his whole being over for the will of Hashem yitbarach. Hashem yitbarach birer v'nisa otam shehem leim tov. And God looked at us and He saw that how we were only filled with good. He looked in the inside of each and every Jew, and He saw how each and every Jew was only filled with good, completely filled with good, l'shem shemayim, completely for the sake of heaven, and not one Israelite had disconnected himself from the desires of Hashem, even up to a hair's breadth, even in the smallest amount. And they were drawn after Hashem. As it is written, they followed me into a wilderness and into an unsown land. Like David HaMelech said in the Psalms, that I planned my way, meaning I thought I'd go to this place or that place to do mundane activities, but my legs took me back to the house of study and the house of prayer. Meaning he planned to do one thing and his legs would automatically take him back to his Torah study or to his davening. This is what I just said, so we can skip. So being a Jew means you're jumping a lot. Jews like to jump. Jumping from place to place. Buraglayim ba'ara va'achidan b'shemaya, meaning a Jew, what is a Jew? A Jew has his feet firmly planted on the ground and his head reaches up to heaven. Mizera Yaakov shu sulam. Why? Because we're the seed of Jacob, and Jacob was the ladder that connected heaven and earth. Sulam mutzav artzav rosho magia shemaima. The ladder that was firmly planted in the ground and whose head reached heaven. That's the seed of Jacob. That's the aspect of Jacob. It means when when the waves go up, you bring them down. Meaning the more a person brings himself up in the honor of Hashem, the more God will in kind respond and come back down and fill his being in that Jew. Shurat Adin Noten Shebech Yashpil Oro Ad LaAdam V'yoter V'yomar Shezeu Tov V'lo Yidaleg Al Zeh HaPesach V'avoida Shelo Af Shema Nechshav Zeh Lifnei Hashem Yitbarach. V'zeh More Mitzvahs Korban Pesach. This is the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, Techas Rachmana Alam, that God had pity on us. God looked at all of the actions of the Jews, which maybe didn't look so good on the outside in Egypt, and He looked and He refined them all for the good, and He saw that we were only filled with goodness. The Korban Pesach Moreh al Avas Hashem Yisbarach. The Korban Pesach teaches of the love of Hashem. Yisrael birer kol hashichachos shel Yisrael. He refined all of the times we forgot about Hashem. V'lo ne'avad mimenu shum machshava. Every good thought we had was counted as worthy before Hashem, as if we did an action. Even when we thought about doing a good thing, when a Jew just thinks about doing a good thing, God considers it as an action. Even though our hearts were not yet refined, God refined them for us. That what is the leaping? He leapt over our actions. Our actions might not be so good all the time, but the Ribono Shel Olam, He leapt over our actions, and He refined us all for the good. And he leapt deep into the depths of the heart to birer kol p'uloteim v'kol ma shedome she'asu neged retzonot barach she'al gavan hayu shavim l'Mitzrayim, and everything where it looked like we did things against God, did things against God's will, and we'd seem like we were acting just like the Egyptians. Nonetheless, God saved us, and He didn't let the destroying force to destroy us. And God took pity on us. He just looked at the present, that now, what they're feeling now, what they're doing now, not in the past. He didn't look at our past actions. He wiped away the past. But this kedusha at that time was lomidat, was without knowledge. We didn't think, why am I filled with such love for Hashem at this time? That's why it's called a leap, because it's leaping over das, over any reason or rhyme or reason to it. It wasn't looking into the Torah and understanding why I love God. It was a love that was beyond das at this point. Pesach, that's called Pesach. And that's where he goes without by a leap, but not gradually, by a great leap. That's a great, very great leap indeed. That he looked at that all of the actions of the body, and he didn't look at it according to his order. He leapt over it. And Hashem leapt over it. That's the Vav, meaning Techef Mehei Ilal Hei Tata. And God's name is Yudke Vavke. He leapt from the first Hey over the Vav to the second Hey. That teaches of not having any choice. The Vav teaches of choice, and he leapt over the choice. That's why we eat matzah, because matzah doesn't have a Vav. Mitzvah has a Vav, a commandment has a Vav, and matzah doesn't. Because it teaches about this leap. Matzah below Vav, who matzota kamoshi yitbe'er. It's like it's explained in the Zohar. And in the future too, it will be that God will refine Israel to such an extent that it will be so refined that the whole main points of the reason why God scattered us among the nations was in order to refine us and to purify us. And that we'd be sunk in all the desires of the nations, and we'd still stand on the Torah, and we'd still refine us, and we'd still be doing the mitzvahs and the galus. It was a tzedakah. It was considered a great tzedakah for him to throw us out in the goyim. V'kulam adam zorea seah klum adam zorea seah el lahachnis kamakurim. The only reason God would sow us out, a handful of Jews, and scatter us into the exile and the diaspora, was to reap 100 times more. That is to say that to take out all the good attributes of all the lands and bring them into the Jews and purify them and sanctify them, where it says the power of man to purify and to raise everything up in the service of Hashem. And then God showed that this was according to His holy will, may He be blessed. Therefore, when it comes time for the final redemption, should happen soon in our days, Hashem will say, it's enough refinements and enough birurim. Even though they're not ready, I'm going to take them out. Even though the outsides don't look so good, I'm going to take them out. He's not going to wait. He's going to take us right out and collect us and gather us together even before the time. That's why we don't break the bone of the Paschal offering, and we'll explain that another time.